Welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have a few now. So while I had everything out today and was actually just going to film one small segment, something came across my mind and I wanted to bring it up today because I think it's important and it's something that a couple of people I know are going through right now. So I wanted to hit the topic while it's kind of fresh. And I'm sure if a couple people are going through it, there's more people going through it. It's along the lines of pet loss and support. Now, I know the last video was not as peppy as the kitchen videos, and usually pet loss and support are not as peppy as the kitchen videos. We try to make those lighthearted. But this one's important because, like I said, I know that there's a few people that are going through this topic, so I'd like to kind of hit on it, and maybe it'll help people out there because it's important. And it's important when you're the person that's on the outside looking in. And what do I mean by that? This is what I mean by that. So say that you are a significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner to someone that you can even be a husband and wife or whatever, to a person who has a dog, cat, animal that either was just put down, just died, and that person who lost the animal is grieving. Even if this was your animal too, even if you knew that animal for a short period of time, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not going to hit you as hard as it is the person that actually owned that animal. And so a couple things with that. Sometimes it's scary. It's scary when we see the people that we love going through a hard time and grieving. We don't really know what to do with that. Grief is different than being sad sometimes, a lot of times, most of the time. Grief has the emotions that is unlike just being upset, stuck in traffic, upset because you stubbed your toe, upset, whatever. Grief is a deep hurt, a deep, deep hurt. And yeah, you may be upset, because, you knew that dog or cat or whatever, but you're not hurting as bad as typically the person that owned that dog or whatnot. And you see that other person that's struggling horribly. And it's scary at times because you don't know what to do. You don't know what the right thing is. And I'll be very honest. A lot of times what people do is they do nothing. They hide away. They stay away from that person. There's a lot of things that they do and that are not necessarily correct, but it's not their fault. It's just the fact that, again, when you're going through a tough time or your loved one is going through a tough time, it's scary because you don't know what to do. You want to fix them. And you can't fix grief. You can't fix what they're going through. All you can do is care for that person. Now, I will be honest, there's different people and different ways that they deal with grief. Usually, I'll be very honest, I'm a person that when I'm grieving, I prefer to kind of be left alone. Where I know other people, when they're grieving, they like to be surrounded by people. I guarantee you'll know your loved one. And if you know that they're a person that likes to be surrounded by yourself or other people, then you'll know that your presence is known. But sometimes just being in the room and not saying anything and just holding that person or taking extra good care of that person, getting them something to eat, maybe getting them a blanket, just taking extra care of that person during their downtime Being prepared for sudden outbursts of crying and not being like startled by it, just going with it. Making excuses if you have something coming up and all of a sudden your partner doesn't want to go because they're sad. It's your obligation as their loved one to tell whoever that you're not going or they're not going, and to protect that person from any negativity that will come to them. That's your job. It's not their job to tell people that they're grieving and so forth. That's your job. And they will think the world of you if you step up and do that for them, if you'll take the lead on them. Another thing, too, is if you are at the point of maybe the pet hasn't passed yet, and you know it's going to happen, start preparing on the side. Maybe not discussing it so much with that person, but start preparing things on the side. I always tell people, if you know that you have a sick animal, if the dog or cat or whatever is sick and you know that, have your vet numbers ready, have your funeral home numbers ready, have different things in place so that when these events do happen, you're not scrambling around. There's nothing worse than being in, I don't want to say crisis mode, and trying to Google phone numbers. That's never a good feeling. So when things do happen, if your loved one can look to you and you'd be like, you know what, I have this all taken care of. I've got numbers. I'll do the calls. I'll do this and that, and I'll have it taken care of. What an amazing thing that would be for the person that's grieving. One less thing that they have to process. It's just an extra way to take that step and show the person that is going through a hard time that it's a way to show them, an outward sign to show them that I get it. And I care about you enough. And yes, I'm grieving too, but it's not about me right now. Right now, it's about you, and it's about your feelings. And, I'll take care of myself in the process, but right now I really want to take care of you. And I may not be able to change the situation, but at least I can make it a little bit better and a little bit easier on you. Because again, when your loved ones go through something like this, it can be scary. It can be scary. You typically will never see your loved one in a state of grief like that. And like I said, a lot of people will shy away. And in my opinion, it's your job to protect that person from other people, protect that person from just anything that would cause more stress. If you can possibly do that, and try to make things as easy as possible, make things as normal as possible with regards to the way that they're grieving. Like I said, if there's breaking out of tears or whatever, it's okay. It's okay. Don't, even if it's a month later, 2 months later, it's okay. It's okay. It shouldn't be, well, why aren't you over it yet? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I've seen that before, and it's ridiculous. I've had people in my groups that will, have come to me and been like, why hasn't my mom gotten over her passing of her dog? Well, why should she? There's no timeline on grief. You can't tell somebody, here's a timeline when to stop grieving something. You can't do that. That's not how life works. That's not how, we're made up as human beings. You can't just say stop. It doesn't happen that way. It's a natural process that you have to go through individually. And the best things that we can do as human beings and as loved ones is to take care of that person. And so if we can take an extra TLC through that process, and even after that process, that's a number one thing that is important in life. But know that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be scared, because it is. It is. And, I know with people that are going through it right now, that was a big concern because you've never seen your loved one in that state before and you don't want to do the wrong thing. And, but in my opinion, if you're doing something that's in a loving way for that person, it's never the wrong thing. It's never the wrong thing. It's better than the opposite, which would be, chalking up as nothing, doing the old run out and get another puppy or, something like that. I've seen that too, where people will just toss somebody's feelings aside and run out and do things like that. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's not going to speed up the grieving process. It's often going to cause resentment towards the new animal, and it's not a happy outcome for anybody, to be honest. So bottom line is, it's okay. That's the message on it. It's okay. Take your time, take extra time with that person, and just try to understand that if that person wants to be, quiet, left alone, field their calls, if they have calls coming in from all avenues, send a message to the family. Just say, hey, so-and-so is okay right now. They just want some quiet time. Family will understand that. 100% they'll understand that. Friends will understand that. But again, I think it's your obligation to protect that person. And when that person's ready, they'll talk to people. They'll handle situations, but sometimes right away is not the right time. And maybe down the line, depending on the situation of the loss of the dog, you two could seek clarity on certain circumstances, to help with the healing process, to find peace of mind on different things. I mean, there's different ways to help with the grieving process, which is, again, why, I had the pet loss support groups. There's so many different ways that you can heal through the grieving process. It's not just it just takes day after day. No, there's different ways to grieve. And there's different ways that you can help yourself grieve and forgive yourself. I mean, there's just so many different avenues. That's the beauty of the pet loss and grief journey is, that it's a part of life because we all go through the birth and death process, but it's the people that are left behind and how we pick up the pieces and go from there. So, but hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps, people that are going through this right now. Pray for you and your families and hope for, healing, hope for lighter days. And, but most of all, I hope that you have the ability to cherish the wonderful memories that you have, because those are the best things in the world that you can hang on to. Keep those memories, take time to write them down, pull out videos, and just keep them so that you don't forget them, because that stuff is the priceless stuff and things that you don't want to forget. So until next time, if you don't have a friend, you have one now. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. We will be starting to do pet loss and grief live events where I will be answering questions live. We'll be fielding different situations live. So if you have a loss that you want to talk about, please chime on in. I would love to talk to you. If you have a story that you want to get on, please send me an email. The email is down in the bio link. I'd love to have you on the show. And again, thank you for everybody that tunes in. Thank you for everybody that passes the information along. So much appreciate you. The more that I can get this message out there to help people heal, the more that the world will be a better place. So anyways, take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.